us all together. Lord, we gather in your name as children of a sovereign God. Forever we proclaim, to God be all glory.
Well, good afternoon. How are you doing? It is August the 25th, 2024, and welcome to episode 56 of the Thinking Theologians. We continue our journey throughout the Bible. And so in today's reading, we are in Jeremiah chapters 49 and 50. The title is Being Led Astray by Shepherds, and the focal verse is Jeremiah 50:26, and this is what it says, is my people were lost sheep. Their shepherds led them astray, guiding them the wrong way in the mountains. They wandered from mountain to hill. They forgot their resting place. And so we all know what it's like to get lost. At some point, we've all been lost somewhere. What makes it even worse is when you get lost when you're following somebody else. And for the younger kids may not remember this, but when we used to have to actually read maps when we were driving places, or have the person in the passenger seat navigate where you were going, and you're trying to drive and pay attention, and the person next to you is not paying attention to what they're doing, and you end up getting lost on the road or taking the wrong turn. And it gets really frustrating when you get lost, when you're trying to trust somebody to lead you in the right direction, and make sure that you're getting off at the right exit and going where you need to go. And when you're not going down that area the way you want to, it gets really frustrating. It gets really annoying. And sometimes that leads to different conversations, and sometimes you can call it intense fellowship, especially if it's the person you're dating or married to at the time. Because usually, you're trying to figure things out, what exit to get off of, where to go. And so most people who don't remember that don't know what that was like, but it was very interesting to do that. But today we're talking about, again, what's going on here with, the Lord's giving Jeremiah more judgment for the people. But then in this chapter here, in chapter 50, he talks about the children of Israel and kind of what they were going through and what happened. And this is a very interesting topic of conversation. He says, my people were lost sheep. He's saying the children of Israel were lost sheep. They were wandering around. Their shepherds led them astray, guiding them to the wrong place, the wrong way in the mountains. They wandered from mountain to hill. They forgot the resting place. So the shepherds here can be viewed as two different groups of people, or both and. The kings and the priests, the people who are supposed to be looking out for the nation of Israel, were actually leading them astray and going down a path where they shouldn't be going. And we know that bad leaders lead the same way. We know that in our secular world, if you have a bad leader, that you can get led down a path you don't need to go. They can cause problems for the company, for other things. We also know this to be true in church life. I was taught many, many, many years ago by a friend and mentor of mine that would always say this, that as the pulpit goes, so goes the church. And, the personality of the person in the pulpit, the personality of the person who's leading the church will affect the personality of the church. And the church will begin to look like the person that is in charge of the church. And we know that to be true. The same is here. Think of all the evil kings and all the bad things that they did, and how the personality of the nation began to reflect what this man was doing. And when there was good kings, there was peace and other things going on. And so leadership matters. And so being led astray by shepherds is something that we have to be aware of in our lives, because it's a true thing. Because most people are natural followers, and when someone tries to be a leader, they're going to lead people a certain way. And being led by a shepherd down a path that you don't need to go is a very problematic place to be in. It is in your personal life, especially for God's church. There are numerous churches and numerous places that have people who may be good people, may be good in different things, but they're bad shepherds. They have a hard time at shepherding people, and they don't meet the qualifications of what a leader is. Remember, I've mentioned this before, qualifications for a pastor leader in the church, the majority of those things are moral, ethical qualifications. The ability to teach is just one segment of everything else. Everything else is about their character, how they act, how they behave, how they treat other people, their demeanor, their attitude, their disposition. All of those things are high more value, because those things matter, because you can be led by people who want to do things a certain way, but they're leading other people another way. And that's what's happening here. The people of Israel were led, and they were wandering around mountains, the hills, and they forgot their resting place. They didn't know where they should be. And so we need to be careful that we're following good leaders. We're following good shepherds. And so if you are a follower and you're following after somebody, make sure that they're following biblical principles. And there needs to be accountability. Where there's no accountability for shepherds, chaos ensues. And again, like I said, you'll see this because the body, whether it's a church, whether it's a business, will reflect the attitude of the person that's in charge. And when those things are allowed to take place, it'll just continue to fester and create more and more problems. And so my encouragement for you today is, if you are in a bad situation, it's best for you to leave if you can. But if you feel like you need to be there and God is placing you, whether it's a work environment or a church environment, pray for your leader, but also try to deal with it and deal with it biblically. And sometimes that's more difficult than others. Sometimes you can have a direct conversation with the person that you're struggling with or the leader you're struggling with, and other times you can't because there's concerns of the reaction that you may get for what's going on. So just know that this is not a new issue, a new problem of being led astray by bad shepherds. It is something that we've seen, and we know it's a problem when we see the outcome of it, what's going to come. Because eventually, when you're led astray by bad shepherds, chaos will ensue and absolute destruction will take place, because they're being judged. The nation of Israel was being judged because of the bad leadership they had. And it took some time, but they eventually got there, and we all need to be aware of that. So pray for good leadership and how that looks. Thank you for being with us today. We will finish up the book of Jeremiah tomorrow. We'll be in Jeremiah chapter 51 and 52. Have a good day.